Once upon a time, there was a show about shows. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a show about shows, a show where we talk all about shows. Of course, as always here, JPO, Jordan Pierce Owens, thank you for joining us for the spooky, not so spooky, Halloween edition. It's Monday the 28th. Do it. That's what we normally do. Yeah, I've got poppers. As joined always here by my main man, Dutch the Stuff.
Really?
Deadly Dutch.
Really?
This is where you cut to him. New editor.
There he is.
Yeah, Dutch, how you doing?
Am I on now?
You're
okay.
on.
Okay.
This is so stressful.
Hello.
And then making his debut here on a show about shows, we don't have Dizzle, because Dizzle randomly was like, I got stuff to do. Ladies and gentlemen, what should I call you?
I don't care.
James is here, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Which is going to be confusing because sometimes I call him James. But now you're James. I'm James at heart. Aren't we all just a little bit of James deep down?
Absolutely.
We got a fun show for you guys today because it's a Halloween edition. We're talking top 10. I don't know what these guys have. Maybe a top 7, top 9. I don't know. Halloween or horror movies. We're also going to talk a lot. We got a lot of reviews now. We were supposed to shoot last week. We're going to have like 2 reviews. This time we have lots of them jam-packed for you. Some news, some fun news, and more, guys, because that's just what we do here at a show about shows.
Jeez. I'm looking through this review list. It's a big list this week.
It's a nice chunk, man. It's a nice chunk. And I got a couple more I don't know if I even told you about.
Well, I don't. You gave me 2, but
I think I had 3.
you had 3.
Or
Okay.
4.
Okay. Well, you'll add those at the end, I guess. We'll do that.
Yeah, I'll just be like, Jordan, what else you got?
Yeah, because we're going to revisit one movie that we did talk about earlier. It's Abominable, which we'll talk about that at the very end, or close to the very end anyway, and we'll go from there.
Yes, sir.
So what do you got, buddy? What do you got? Yeah, I know you got something to plug.
Oh, yeah, we're doing Plug Skis. November the 16th, I'm back at ACW live in Port Richey. If you can't be in Port Richey, the Gulfview Event Center, check it out at Club WWN, one of the best wrestling subscription packages out there. And, of course, December the 3rd, that's a Tuesday, RPW Wrestling is back in Fort Myers for our first ever Viewers' Choice event. Get online, help dictate some of the matches, some of the wrestlers that you will see that night, because, hey, we do it for the fans. No one can see this but me. Both of you look so uninterested right now. You're on the computer. You're on the phone.
I'm writing things. But you know what, though? Here's the deal. We're just sitting through your plugs. We're waiting to get to the show.
Right, I don't care about that. I'm not going. I promise I'm not going to that show.
And I have about a 50-50 chance. And I have a 50-50 chance of making it.
Trying to get laid.
Yeah, I never know.
Yeah.
So what do we start off? We got some reviews. You want to start off?
Yeah, let's start off. First one we got on the list, it looks like we're going to go with the because it's the spooky, not so spooky Halloween deal. And, of course, I'm not on camera, but that's all right.
Editor.
All right, listen with that. All right.
Zombieland Double Tap. Zombie Slayers, Tallahassee, Columbia, Wichita, and Little Rock leave the confines of the White House. They travel to Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. Along the way, they encounter a post-apocalyptic warriors and a couple of survivors who find refuge in a commune. Basically, this stars Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin, Woody Harrelson, Zoe, how do you say this last name? Deutsch? I'm not very good at it. Rosario Dawson, Luke Wilson, Tom Middleditch, and, of course, my favorite, Bill Murray. So what did you think about this, Mr. Rowans?
So this is actually the one review all 3 of us can actually speak on, because I saw this twice now.
I didn't see it.
We went and saw. Shut up. We went and saw it, and me and the new guy over here, James Snarf, went and saw it as well. And I had fun with this, man. We kind of talked about it a little bit afterwards. It's kind of. I don't know. It's a good kind of meaningless movie. Like, it's just kind of set piece after set piece, but it's fun, man. There's some good laughs throughout it. The cast is here to play. It's visually, you can tell they obviously had a little bit more bucks too to play with as far as special effects wise and kill wise. So it's a good afternoon, night popcorn, I think, thrill ride here. It doesn't all add up. But I enjoyed it, man. Like I said, I think it passes the time pretty nicely. What more do you want? I think if you've seen the first one, I think you'll be pretty content with the second one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I enjoyed it a lot. My favorite is the scenes at the end of the film with Bill Murray. But
I'm glad they brought him back.
I gotta tell you though, I thought the Zoe Douche or Deutsch.
Yeah, I liked her character.
I always like her acting to begin with, but her and Jesse Eisenberg just. I was rooting for that couple for some reason.
What?
Yeah. I'm the anti Emma Stone. The way she left him. She left him. She went off.
Snarf, do you think she looks tired?
I would never say such a thing. That would be rude. She looks great.
Which one? Who are we talking about?
Emma Stone looked a little tired.
Well, I think you'd be tired, fighting zombies.
Yeah.
After a while, and just having to look at this and say, "Look, I became an Oscar winner, and now I'm doing this."
Right, and you
again.
have to fuck Jesse Eisenberg.
And
wait a minute,
watch the language.
I'm sorry, I don't know what PG we are.
But
we're PG-16.
But
you can drop one.
But still, the commentary, the camaraderie with the original cast still kind of worked.
Everyone came back. For me, that's pretty important.
Yeah. I think they had to. I think they tried doing that really bad failed Amazon series where they recasted everybody.
Oh,
it's a thing.
That, yeah.
And no, I think they kind of knew
them for getting that Amazon money though.
And I do.
I don't know if they did. Well, I'm sure.
I mean, surely they did. I mean, Amazon's giving out money hand over fist. They're giving it to everybody these days.
Well, I'm just saying I don't know if any of them got money.
No,
they
weren't
in
they
it.
didn't. I mean, whoever that got recast got the Amazon money.
Oh, it was all unknown, so it was no one you have heard of.
So everybody got like $10 in a
probably
a bag of.
This was not the heyday of Amazon with like Marvelous Miss Maisel. This was like early Amazon. Like we're testing stuff out,
Yeah.
And no, I think they kind of had to get that whole cast back in order to pique interest, and it's been a while too. Like I actually talk about this later on in the news, but there's been several scripts that for one reason or another has been turned down and rewritten. So they actually waited till they found like they actually had a little something to go with.
Yeah, but I thought everything was just I laughed throughout it, so it kept my attention. It didn't make me wish I was in another film, like a little bit of the other stuff that we'll be talking about later.
Yeah, we got a few here. I'm not going to be raving about.
Yeah, so but this one though, all in all, I have to say that it just worked for me, and I'm hoping there's no more after this though. That's the only thing I can ask, just no more.
If it makes money, it will, but I don't think it's making.
It's not. It made. I think when it debuted, it made just a hair less than the original, I believe, or maybe a hair more. I'm not sure how. It was like 36 to 35.
With a raised budget, that's probably not that great.
No, and I think worldwide it's not doing that great as well. But in the interest of just rating, 3.5 is what I gave it.
You know what? I think you're crazy. 5. I've told you this already.
You got to use 10. There's more.
Yeah, thanks. Well, let's say on the show. Let you rewrite the show,
right,
James.
Use 10.
Anywho, out of 5, no. Okay, look at most. Just don't rewrite the show while we're on it.
Just saying. There's more decimals.
Anywho, I'm gonna disagree and give it 3.5.
Oh,
that's what he did.
I know that was a joke.
Yeah, we
You
heard.
should watch the show. It's a running gag.
Oh, I love
do.
it. Yeah, I watched it last night.
Snarf, what do you give Zombieland 2 Double Tap? Pew pew.
6. I'm using a 10,
Seriously.
of course.
Come on.
Now I got to use the 5. I don't know. Listen, it was a fine film. It worth the $11, not the 16. Got the senior discount. Yeah, nothing to complain about. Honestly, I felt like it basically was just the same movie over again, but I loved the first one, so it's hard to say. Out of 5, 3.5.
All right, well, there you go, folks. Yeah. It's unanimous. 3.5 or a 6 out of 5, according to some.
6 out of 10.
What are we reviewing next? I don't think I have.
Okay. Well, I kind of kept the same order as we had earlier. We're gonna go with Little Monsters next.
Little Monsters. Well, I guess you probably have more of an apt synopsis. What you got?
Not really. I just stole from Hulu at this moment. And
I don't have any synopsis.
It just says a film dedicated to all the kindergartner teachers out to motivate children to learn, instill them with confidence, and stop them from being devoured by zombies. That's the synopsis of what I took. Lupita.
I don't know if I'd agree with that synopsis, by the way.
Well, not one child was eaten.
No, I'm just saying my synopsis would be, it's more. I feel like it's more about the guy actually than it is Lupita to a large degree, but
it's just dedicated. It's just what I just pulled.
No, I'm not saying you pulled wrong. I'm just saying it's one. There's a lot of times, a lot of these synopses I do fight. I was saying the other day, if you ever rent Netflix DVDs, they still do that. Their synopsis is wrong a lot. We save the fireworks, Jim.
Yeah.
For what?
So Lupita Nyong'o, Josh Gad, and Alexander England star in this made for Hulu event. I don't know. I thought this movie was very slow paced. The laughs were really void most of the way through it. You know, Josh Gad gave me a little bit of a laugh here and there. Alexander England, who played the uncle, was just, I don't know, aggravating to watch. Along with, you know, and of course Lupita was, you know, did great for what she had, but it was, at the end of the day, was not my favorite little zombie movie. If I had to choose the two that we just talked about, Zombieland, of course Zombieland will win every time over Little Monsters. But the premise is, it started well. You know, the premise was a good idea. It just was poorly executed, I think, at the end of the day.
So I guess I'm going to be the more favorable one of this movie, evidently. I didn't love this as much as I was hoping to. You know, you read the cast of Lupita Nyong'o choosing a zombie film, Josh Gad going, I wouldn't necessarily say, depending on what you've seen of his, if you've just seen like Frozen and other likable things, kind of going off character here. He's a very despicable character. He plays like a morning, you know, cartoon host or whatever, kid show host, but when things actually go down, he's very much just for himself in a very over-the-top extreme way. But I thought it was fun.
Is it really over the top? I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, he was very safe and secure, and these kids and these strangers wanted to intrude on his palace at this point. You know, his protected, secured area.
Wait a minute, are you trying to cope with the character that's just going to let everyone die?
Pretty much, yes.
You're
I think most
shitty
people
demon.
would at that time.
No.
Yes.
No.
Fuck the children, okay?
Most
That's how
people
I
would.
look at it at the end of the
No.
day. Children
both
are
wrong.
a liability.
Can I drag your podcast down with a social science fact?
You're going to anyway,
I'm going
so.
to. They did an experiment where they let baby monkeys and mama monkeys, they put them on a hot plate, right? They put them, locked them in a room, put them on a hot plate. Check it out. No, I'm serious. This is interesting. I don't know where the camera is. It doesn't matter. It's an interesting point. So they put them on the hot plate, right? And they couldn't go anywhere. The whole room, the floor was this hot plate, right? So the mama monkeys felt how hot it was getting and picked up the baby monkeys, right? So that they wouldn't be burned, right? But then when they turned it up even hotter, the mama monkeys stood on the baby monkeys. All I'm saying is he's right.
And then along comes Jimmy Downer. Oh my God!
Isn't that
Well,
horrible?
no, I just say I unfortunately have to agree with that item. But yeah, I think that if you're in a zombie world, you know, there's no place for children. At that point, they're good for throwing at the zombies to slow them down, maybe.
Eating.
Same with the animals that you may have, like a
that's what I mean.
dog
It's
or
gonna
a
be
cat.
practical when he first comes across them. He should let them in because the zombies are nowhere near him, and he can save them later on for fodder.
Well, but you're saying though he should be saving the children at the same time. I personally would not. I could care less about him at that point.
Oh my God! I hope we're not stuck in a zombie apocalypse. You're gonna lock me out,
You're not a
aren't you, you
child.
son of a bitch?
Yeah, you will, my friend. You will be the first to go.
You're not a child. You'll be the second to go.
So
Anywho, back to the film.
yeah.
This thing didn't win me. It was one of those films too where one, I actually felt like this one didn't have much of a budget at all. Even when it comes to zombie kills, it felt like they didn't have much to work with. And I don't know if they were hoping for reshoots later on, if Hulu didn't give him enough money later on, because it just felt very B level to me. And
I think that's what they were going for. I think it was more of a B level film.
yeah, but to me, just like kind of like to an extent of what you were getting at then, but it didn't really work extremely well on any level. You know what I mean? Like I laughed a couple times, but not extremely. My gore factor wasn't met because there's not that much gore in it. So it just at the end of the day, I felt lukewarm in it. I had some fun. I thought it was an interesting premise, but still not executed as well as I had hoped.
Correct. So what do you give it, boss?
I'm still gonna give it 3 though. I think there's redeeming factors
Really?
with the performances.
You guys do
and
fractions or just halves?
it's relatively a nice tight. We can do halves. We just did halves. We all just
No, I
did
meant
it
like,
half.
like, can I give it like a 2.1? Is that like no good?
I hope you don't, because just give it a 2 then. What's the point 1 doing?
Just to distinguish it from 2s, I thought it was better then.
Anyhow, you haven't seen it, have you?
Yeah, I thought it was all right.
You saw this?
Yeah, Little Monsters.
I hate you. I hate you so much. So yeah, 3. I'm guessing. What do you got it?
I got it at 2. Actually, 2. Just 2.
All right,
I
give
just-
it full snowflake more.
You know, if I wasn't getting it for free, you know, for my subscription, I would have just turned it off. But I just kept it on. Just it had to get better, but it didn't. It's just what it was. But the next one up on the list is Jexy, a comedy. We're gonna change a little bit of gear here. A comedy about what could happen when you love your phone more than anything in life itself. We're not talking about Her with Joaquin Phoenix, but We're going to go with Adam Devine, Alexandra Shipp, Wanda Sykes, Rose Byrne, Kid Cudi, Charlene Yee, and Michael Pena also star in this. So
Michael Pena.
Pena.
I wasn't being pedantic. I was wondering if it was the same guy from End of Watch, the only film I know him from.
Yeah. And Ant-Man. If you
Never saw that one.
Yeah, okay. But
Crash, 30 Minutes or Less. The dude's in like 100 movies.
Oh, he's in everything. But the only one I remember him being in, End of Watch. You seen that movie? Good movie. Yeah.
But
Sad.
this movie actually, kind of surprised me. I thought it was going to go one way and it went the other. It was a romantic comedy at the end of the day. It wasn't just between a man and his phone. It was between a man and a woman. I think it was Alexander
And we
Shipp.
know how much you love your rom-coms.
And I love rom-coms, so
Do you love rom-coms?
I love them more than Jordan, I believe.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not me saying I don't like them. I do like them when they're done well, but
if they're done well,
you
that's
go
why
out of your way for them, I feel.
I just like them because they're just fun brain candy. Just throw some sweets at you. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie a whole lot. Adam Devine, Alexander Shipp were great in it. You know what? Wanda Sykes stole the show a lot when she was in her scenes. She was very strong. I just loved it. You're not getting another phone. The Kid Cudi, never heard of him. Googled him afterwards, listened to some of his stuff. It was pretty decent. Michael.
You're just saying that to piss people off. There's just no way you've never heard of Kid Cudi.
I have never
Calling you
heard
out-
of
calling
Kid
you out
Cudi.
is nonsense.
Never.
I can't name a song by my heart.
I have
the
never
one he
heard-
sang in the
He's just
movie,
doing
like
it to be
I've been
contrarian.
gone all day, yeah, no man. Like I've heard of that, but I
Oh,
couldn't
that's
name
never.
it.
classic.
Never.
I couldn't name what it's called though.
I'm being serious. I have never heard of Kid Cudi. Never have.
He was on Entourage towards the end. He replaces.
See, I don't. I never. I left.
he
I left
replaces Jeremy
Entourage toward the end.
Piven's, assistant. You know how it's the one
Lloyd?
guy, Rex Lynn? No, he replaces Lloyd. When Lloyd gets promoted, it's Kid Cudi at the end.
Yeah. See, I don't. But anyway.
If
But
there
yeah.
were internet here, I'd Google that.
But I thought everyone worked out. I forgot Ron Funches was in this too.
Ron Funches and Charlene Yee are the friends from the
Yeah. Well, I
Office.
had Charlene Yee, but I don't know how I forgot Ron.
Oh, how dare you. Of course,
Right.
Rose Byrne as
Yeah.
the phone.
Yeah, I have Rose Byrne as well. But yeah.
I don't think you
just-
said them, though. You
Yeah,
didn't say
well,
them.
I didn't
You
say
didn't say
Ron.
the cast, and then we got distracted by Pena. Sorry.
But I didn't say
Liar.
Ron. So, but yeah, I just thought it was a great movie. Just fun to watch. A lot. I came in with a very low thought process on it. But the question I have for you, though, Jordan, is how many times do we have to see Adam Devine's penis in a movie?
Not enough, according to this film. So no, I mean that's my problem with this. I would say in a way, maybe I was too pleasantly surprised just because I didn't have too big of expectations. This felt like I don't know if the studio didn't have enough money behind it or enough faith behind it because this thing felt like it just popped out. All of a sudden, there's some movies we've been seeing trailers for months. This felt like I just heard about it in the last month. I also didn't even know. I didn't know how R-rated it was, as you just mentioned. There's penises. There's the phone's very vulgar.
And there's peñas.
And there's peñas and penises. And then, but no Pena penis.
Gotta pay the big bucks.
He's
for that.
funny too, but at times he brings from funny to just over the top annoying though to a degree, and that's kind of how I feel about this film. I had some good times with it. I absolutely love Alexandra Shipp.
Yeah.
The editor needs to figure out what the hell he's doing.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I just look up and see a black screen, then
No, that's-
then a rainbow screen.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I just felt like this was a mixed bag. This is one of those ones that maybe in 5-10 years I'll revisit again and waste an afternoon for. But it's not one that I can really highly recommend, and that's why it didn't last in theaters very long. I mean, it's already gone out of our local theater.
Yeah, it's like you said, it wasn't publicized as much as some other films. Unfortunately, they take that out and put the scary things that tell in the dark, and things that's already been in the theater. These almost like this close to DVD. It's just kind of stupid, but yeah, I enjoyed it though. But what you're going to give it a rating of some sort, but I'll give it one. I'll give it 3.5, 3.5, close to 4.
I thought we were more on the
seems
same
like a good
page.
time.
I couldn't go to
3.7.
4 because it was lacking in one or two departments, but I 3.5 is
That's
very
another
good.
time I'm going to personally say your review did not match your score just now.
It never does.
It doesn't, man. Like I very much was expecting you to give it tops a 3, the way you were talking.
It's a 3.5. That's better than 3. It's
I know, but the way you were
But you
talking,
thought it was
going
gonna
to
be about 4?
A 3 might be a stretch.
No,
like you were like, this thing didn't really work. I didn't find it that funny.
Well, no.
Nice
I never said it was not funny. I said I laughed. I enjoyed it. I said I went in it thinking there was nothing good about it because I only saw the previews and it just looked about a guy and a phone. That's all it showed in the theater. A guy and a phone and no love interest on the outside.
There's Alexander Shipp.
But then Alexander Shipp
Popping up
came
a
in
couple
and I
times.
said, I'm in. You know, it's and Wanda Sykes.
I'm
was
going
also funny.
2.5 flakes here. Like I said, I'm going to put it like kind of right in the middle of that 5-star scale. There's redeeming qualities, and then there's some qualities where I thought the script could be a little tight. Even the Kid Cudi spot very much just felt like, all right, what are we doing today? Oh, we got this rapper. Cool. They're going to smoke weed, and we're going to have a dance sequence. Like,
You know what's funny? That's how I feel about every role that Common has ever done. You ever
I
notice that he's
disagree
in every
wholeheartedly.
film?
He's fantastic in John Wick.
Yeah.
He's lovable in Barbershop 3.
Yeah.
So the next film, I don't know if you got a chance to see this one, The Laundromat on Netflix.
I did not, but I know you were telling me about it. So tell
Yeah,
me
it's
more.
basically it's a weird premise. It's basically based on the Panama Papers scandal. Ellen Martin begins investigating a fake insurance policy after her idyllic vacation takes a unthinkable turn. The main people in this film: Gary Oldman, Antonio Banderas, and Meryl Streep. I know it's Streep, but strip it all down. It's an awful film. Ryan Soderbergh, usually kind of could put together a good film, but this movie to me just felt like, hey, everybody, let's just make a movie with, Meryl Streep, and it just turned out to be shit. I mean, literal bad. I mean, there was nothing in it that made me actually happy when I was watching this. There's no good performances. It's just like everyone phoned it in. Gary Oldman tried, I guess, an accent of some sort. I'm not even sure if he was Austrian, if he was German, if he was Swedish. I have no clue. Antonio Banderas played Antonio Banderas. And Meryl Streep, they gave her 2 little parts, a surprise part in the end, but it was not really a surprise. It was just, oh, really? Oh, okay. That type of feel. But yeah, this one was a very, kind of touted film, for Netflix, and it turned out to be a very boring and just drawn out film. It's like a 2-hour film. It's just unbelievably horrid. So I don't recommend it. So I
Obviously. 4 stars.
So let me guess, 4 stars. Yeah.
No, 1.
Really?
I have never given a 1 on the
Wow.
show, but this one is so
Woo.
bad that there was numerous times where I had to put it on pause just to think, should I continue? And when you keep doing that during a film, it's just not going to work for you.
Now,
And-
James is a longtime fan of the show. Are you surprised to hear that it won?
Well, I would have given it a 1.1.
But yeah, no, that's kind of weird to hear. In a weird way now, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a torture to myself that I kind of want to see it more now. Because I got to see if this is
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch that.
like I actually. What's funny is I wonder if I'm going to come to the show and be like, it was 4 stars.
But you know what, though? The
you just
premise-
don't get Soderbergh.
I like the idea of a premise of the Panama Papers, because the Panama Papers scandal is a great type scandal when you read about it. And they could have gone so much, a little bit more layered and more
Do
intrigue.
you think there's a chance that this film was a deep state propaganda?
I don't.
Like to make you disinterested in the Panama Papers?
No, I'm still interested in the Panama Papers. I'm just saying.
Why would they make a film that disinterests you?
You're watching
It's
one hand,
be-
you're not watching the other.
But then no, even if it's a bad film, it's be worse than just not making a movie about the
people
papers.
are like, oh, the Panama Papers, I know about that. It's boring.
No, it's just the way he took it in this film. It's the direction, the undertone of Meryl Streep's character Ellen, and how she is supposedly investigating this on her own, and she somehow discovers it. Yet the FBI is one step ahead of her by a little bit, or behind her, and it doesn't make sense. The whole thing doesn't make sense, and good for them. Netflix threw more money at people who
Getting that Netflix money.
Soderbergh. Ugh. One that you did not want to go watch. I went to watch it. Western Stars. Bruce Springsteen.
Hey everybody!
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen. It's basically he touches on. He performs his album, his newest album, of the same name, in front of basically a bunch of friends. It's a unique opportunity. It's just because he's never going to do this live. This album is never going to be performed live. That's what he says anyway. And he has a 30-piece orchestra and in a 100-year-old barn. And he basically introduces, it's almost like storytellers, like VH1 used to have, but with more art. And be honest, I went there, and I didn't think there would be a lot of people there. There was probably about a good 40 to 50 people in this theater to watch.
Boomers love Bruce Springsteen.
Western Stars, and it was just interesting, and I liked it. Basically, it's just him singing. So, if you like a good concert with a little bit of photography, he helped direct it. He helped write it. The man is just going for that EGOT as much as he can. So I am gonna say this one 4. Just very good. Next, you talked me into this movie at 11:40 at night. Maleficent, the Mistress of Evil. It's basically we're going to go over. It's a fantasy adventure that picks up several years after Maleficent, the original, in which we find Aurora and Prince Philip are going to wed, and the future mother-in-law Queen will have nothing to do with it. Maleficent must then team up with some outsiders to protect the creatures of the Moors, and against the Queen and her army. This has Angela Jolie, Elle Fanning, Chiwetel
Ejiofor.
Drink. Sam Riley, Harris Dixon, Ed Skirrin, Imelda Staunton, Juno Temple, Leslie Manville, and of course Michelle Pfeiffer as the evil queen. What do you think on this one? Because we decided to go through this one at 11:40 at night.
So as we said before, we get that Wriggle pass. So we were double dipping already. Well, we saw a different movie first. Then we met up for Countdown, which we'll talk about here in a second. And then we're like, hey, man, I didn't think anything was going to show. I happened to just pull up the times and go, we can make Maleficent. And finally goaded you into it. It's all right. It looks great. You can't deny that. Like, just if you put it on mute, though, you can just go, "Oh, it's a nice, painting and visually stunning." And there's some interesting stuff going on here. I haven't seen the first one. I think what'd you say? You can't even remember, or you saw? I
saw the first half of the first one. Yeah.
So there's definitely stuff for me missing where I was like, "Oh, I think I'm supposed to care about like these two meeting up again, or the backstory here." Which I just didn't care that much about here. So I just kind of feel like it's been with a lot of some of the Disney movies that it's beautiful fluff, if you will. It's not bad. I think little ones might like it. And yeah, I don't know I don't really know who. I think parents will be mildly entertained. And yeah, what do you think?
It's a cluster bomb. It just was just a lot of stuff thrown at you at one time. And I think it was just so many ideas that they had for the film, and they just threw them against the wall and saw what stuck. And to me, it literally just blew my mind, in which I didn't want to see any of it anymore. I tried to get interested in the characters, and I didn't care about any of the characters again. Maybe that's why I only saw the first half of the first one. But, I went in open-minded, but it just decided that it just wasn't for me. This was not aimed for me, a Disney... I'm not a Disney fan really, but it gives me a shot at this, and it was just the dreadful thing. And I've asked other people who've watched it since. Only it seems like the kids really like it. I think because the colors and the textures and maybe the explosions.
Yeah, as I've said before, it's kind of like the ugly doll syndrome of not ugly dolls. Trolls or whatever.
Yeah,
or the one with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
It's eye porn. It's the kids. It's eye porn. Just because, like I said, it does look cool. So that's pretty much all they need.
I found out something interesting about Disney and porn recently. Would you like to hear it?
I feel like we have to.
It's interesting. You don't have to, but it's interesting. I guess technically speaking, Disney owns the intellectual property rights on Disney-based porn, right? Like if you see like Aladdin getting railed or whatever, technically that's like Disney property. They own, and they have copyrights and everything.
So what do you review Maleficent 2? Mistress of Evil.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So Maleficent 2, I would give it 2.5.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the best I can do. with that
I'll
one.
throw in 2.5 for me as well. Like I said, there's some redeeming stuff here. I kind of like the last climatic battle to a degree. But yeah, just there's plenty of it. Even like I hate to say, like one of my favorite character actors, Chiwetel, I didn't care probably as much as I should have about his
Was
character.
this animated?
No,
Just
no.
heavily CGI to
Yeah. I mean, some characters are like the Emile de Staunton. There's like 3 little fairies that
kind of
follow
like
them
those
around.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, Alice in
It
Wonderland.
is. I would say it's a notch above that because I kind of hate those.
Oh, I liked those.
What?
No, they were silly.
Nah, I hated them. I like those
Yeah.
are like
Yeah, you're wrong.
Choose.
The first one was
Asses.
better than the second one. So for the Alice in Wonderland. So, anywho, the next film that we're going to talk about is called The Countdown. When a nurse downloads an app that claims to predict exactly when a person's going to die, it tells her she only has 3 days to live, with time ticking away, and she has to figure out, basically how to live before her time runs out. So it stars Ann Winters, Elizabeth Lale, Jordan Calloway, Peter Facinelli. Is that close enough? Charlie McDermott, Talitha Bateman, and Tom Segura.
Isn't he the comedian?
Yeah, actually, yeah. He's really a bright spot in the film. His character actually plays a good bright spot. But it's just the paint by numbers horror film again. I'm not a very big fan of the horror film genre, but what else am I going to say about it? It's just a paint by numbers horror film, where they find there's a curse and they got to try to figure out how to break the curse. Anything else?
No, I hate to just like ride your coattails, but you nailed it, man. This thing is paint by numbers. You've seen it before. Even whether it's just the ring saying you got 7 days left now, and you got to go figure out, what can I do to maybe stop it? Even meeting up, they try to throw in a romance in the middle of it here, and
Which is totally just random.
it just felt like it's paint by numbers. It's we got a girl, we need another guy that's cute who to meet up so they can maybe potentially smooch at one point.
Did they smooch?
I'm not gonna. Hey man, no spoilers here.
Oh, we don't do spoilers?
No.
Really?
Bruce Willis
So
is
even
alive.
when we're reviewing our favorite horror movies, there's no spoilers?
No,
Well, maybe if they're like old as shit and you have to mention the end.
I don't know, because that's like... Because sometimes the best part about a horror movie is how it ends. So
You
it's
can
tough
be
to-
vague about the ending, just don't
Okay.
flat out,
Okay.
But there's not much here. I wouldn't say it's horrible though, by any means. Again, I felt like it's relatively past the time, although there's probably plenty of things we could have done instead.
yeah, I agree, but and that's why I kind of didn't give it the rock bottom on this. I mean, the lowest standard for film, but it's not something that I walked away saying, "Hey, I was greater for seeing this movie." And and some people do. We'll walk away and like the idea of watching this film, but we just did it because we needed it for our little check mark off our box for STX films, I believe. So I am going to give this. Oh, what did I give it? I can't even remember. Oh, 2. I gave it a 2.
Well, we love to disagree on the show, so I can also give it a 2. So far, we've only disagreed on probably Little Monsters, I think. Do you think if they do a trilogy, number 3 will be called The Final Countdown?
Well, if they, I'm going to just say this right now, and I don't. This might spoil, so just lower it down a second. Well, no, I could just tell you this: they're already writing, movie checks they can't probably cash in. So, we'll see if they're going to come out a sequel yet. We don't know yet. So
With what?
with the countdown, we don't know. They kind of foreshadow
Wait,
things.
was this a sequel?
No. This was the first of probably, God knows, happy death day to you. And then they kind of went to the
they did a
third,
second one of those.
and they were hinting for a third, and that one didn't go anywhere. So we'll see.
Well, it never got started. Not that it didn't go any. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They start cashing.
definitely didn't go
They
anywhere.
start trying to write checks that the studio's not going to
and
want to cash.
No, they do that a lot. I mean, within both the movie itself and then in real life, they'll hire writers all the times that way, to kill time, because they go, oh, if the case is a hit, we don't want to waste another year about just writing. Let's get the script in now, just in case.
So the next, dear God, this is like a marathon after a while.
Hey, James, just now when look how close you are to the mic is more clear than it was a second ago.
How do you know?
I have the headphones in.
Oh, wow, he never does that.
What's better? I can tell whether he's sounds way better now than he did 30 seconds ago.
I get the logic. I've never seen him with those on.
No, okay,
good.
yeah.
You sound good.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of like I was kind of like turned right now. I think I'm the
Yeah,
last one.
I'm just letting you know.
No, thanks. Black and Blue is our next movie.
Your next movie.
Well, we
I'm
just
starting to doubt you even see movies.
Yeah, who? Which one? Which one?
It's like 4 in a row you haven't seen. You didn't see the Netflix one?
Well, it's not in a row. The last movie we reviewed, I saw.
Well, there's a few. I like the last show. He carried the whole thing because I only
Plus,
saw
I'm about
one.
to do like 3 in a row he hasn't seen. So
Okay,
Yeah,
relax.
but
No
Black
big
and
deal.
Blue is about a rookie policewoman in New Orleans inadvertently captures the shooting death of a young dealer on her body cam after realizing the murder was committed by corrupt cops. She teams up with the only person from the community who's willing to help her, which is Tyrese. Generally, that's who I go for help if no one else is wanting to help me. But now she finds herself on the run from both the vengeful criminals and lawmen who desperately want to destroy the incriminating footage. This has Naomi Harris, Tyrese Gibson, Frank Grillo, Mike Coulter, Reed Scott, Nafessa Williams, Bo Knapp, and James Moses Black. I actually didn't watch it with you. My mom actually wanted to watch it, so I said, okay, let's go watch it. And I got to tell you, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was more entertaining. It was more suspenseful. Tyrese actually puts in a pretty decent performance. He cries on cue, which is even better. Frank Grillo plays the crooked cop, and he's just always on point when he plays that. Mike Coulter, I didn't even realize he was in the film until he shows up as the heavy drug lord, and his character is pretty decent. Bo Knapp, he plays like the sidekick to Frank Grillo. He's like the little yappy dog on the side. Yeah, let's get him type of guy. The cast actually was well suited and well done by this film. Like I said, I asked my mom. I said, "Okay, out of the 5, what do you give it?" And my mom never goes to movies, so everything is a 5-star for her, I guess. But I disagreed. But at the end of the day, the film is worth watching. Go out and see it. I gave it 3.5. I know it doesn't sound like I should have had a 4, but 3.5 because there is a little bit of a hole here and there for plot. But again, it's nothing you can't drive. You can't drive through a semi truck like some of the other ones. So, but 3.5, Black and Blue. So, but the next one, you gave me the notes on this one. So, Tone Deaf is the name. A woman goes to the countryside to spend a quiet weekend after losing her job and having her complicated relationship implode. She rents a country house to an old-fashioned widower who struggles to hide his psychopathic tendencies. This has Amanda Crew, Robert Patrick, Ray Wise, Kim Delaney, and Haley Marie Norman, just to name a few. What was this movie about?
As you said here, she's kind of a hipster who, her and her boyfriend break up. So she takes her mother, who has become a hippie as well since the dad, Ray Wise, committed suicide years ago. She's kind of detached. She said, "Oh, you should just go take the weekend off, rent a place." So she rents from good old Robert Patrick. And he just lost his wife, and he's thinking, you know what? There's one itch I want to scratch before I die, and that's how I want to kill somebody. And I hate fucking hipsters, so I want to kill a millennial.
Everyone's dream.
It was interesting. It seemed a bit rushed because when you finally get towards the end of these two clashing, I literally looked at the timer and I was like, "Oh, we're about like 15 minutes done now." So it seemed a bit rushed, and sometimes I felt like it was artsy. Just to be artsy, like there's weird like tripping out sequences. She has a weird conversation with Ray Wise at one point, and so it definitely held my interest here. Robert Patrick has straight up monologues straight to the camera about god dang millennials, and even the last wording of the film,
They call that boomer porn.
Boomer porn, yeah, it's about boomers versus millennials. And that's kind of what the undertone of this was. Which at first you might not get that from the trailer. They just said straight up, oh, he's trying to maybe kill her, and he's constantly looming the house. That he lives underneath and she doesn't know yet. So it was interesting. It's not necessarily a paint by numbers film, but flawed as well, though.
You've been watching these type of films lately. What?
It's Halloween time, man. I gotta watch some
Well,
weird
no.
stuff.
What I'm saying
I
is,
love me some
what
Rob
was the
Patrick.
other one with Dennis Quaid that you just watched?
Yeah, that one again. It almost sounded similar. He
Yeah,
just lost his wife.
This is like the low rent version of.
Well, but
of
this
that.
one's more interesting. I would prefer if you're gonna watch something, watch this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the other one's paint by numbers and not that great. This one's just weird and not that great. But I'd rather watch weird and not great because at least it's something different. As our switcher totally is paying attention. Thanks,
Bro, it's been on him for 20 minutes.
I it very much has. That's why
I'm not
I
your
just
switcher.
said.
I'm your special guest. I just happen to be sitting in this seat.
So I'm gonna give it 2.5. Like I said, it's an interesting rent. I got it from Redbox. Patrick delivers a pretty good performance here. Amanda Kruger as well, who you might know is the female on Silicon Valley, the one that helps them out a lot. So Johnny Pemberton also pops up in this. I like him.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's like a 2.5. You said, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, the next one is a Netflix original. Just came out, I believe, this weekend. Dolomite Is My Name.
Oh, you saw this already?
Yes, I saw
Oh
it.
man,
Eddie Murphy.
I haven't seen this.
Eddie Murphy portrays real-life legend Rudy Gay Moore, a comedy and rap pioneer who proved naysayers wrong with his hilarious, obscene kung fu fighting alter ego Dolomite. In a 1970s blaxploitation phenomenon, this has Eddie Murphy, Wesley Snipes, Craig Robinson, Mike Epps, Keegan-Michael Key, Titus Burris, Devon Joy Randolph, Snoop Dogg, Chris Rock, and Cody Smith McKee.
Common wasn't in this.
No, he wasn't in this one. Yeah. Or if he was, I didn't put him in the credits. I got to, what Wesley Snipes. I'm glad to see him back. He was fresh. Not too fresh out of prison. A couple years out of prison now, for something that Nicolas Cage should have gone to prison for, but it never did. Tax evasion. But Eddie Murphy has got his groove back. I think with this film, I think he's found his funny again, which I'm very happy for. Because the last few he's kind of suffered. He's kind of gotten to the artsy spot, which never really paid off for him. But Wesley Snipes, Eddie Murphy, those two combined, they don't have a lot of scenes together, but when they do, it makes me laugh. But Eddie Murphy just puts on a great clinic of acting. And I know they put this out in the theaters as well, so he can garner maybe an accolade or two, maybe an Academy Award nominee or a nomination or something. But I wouldn't put it past him if he could get it, if they do let him have it. And so, yeah, everybody in this film is pretty good. Snoop Dogg just makes an appearance. He's the DJ at the in-house record store in L.A. And it's just, like I said, it's just a very fun film. It's very worth watching. I gave this an actual 4 for a film. So 4 is what I gave it. So 4 is what we gave. Dolomite Is My Name. Netflix original. Your next film is You. It's going to be probably the rest of them. Then we're going to revisit another one just briefly. 3 from Hell. You gave me it's a sequel to The Devil's Rejects. It's directed by Rob Zombie, starring Sherry Moon, Zombie, Bill Moseley, Sid Haig, and Jeff Daniel Phillips. What is this? It's just blood sport. What?
Did Sid Haig die?
Yes, Sid Haig did die. And if you're looking for a lot of him in this film, you unfortunately won't find it. He has one
because he's dead.
Well, yeah, because he died. No, and he was sick towards the film. You can see this too, and which obviously they had to rewrite the script. He was obviously more heavily involved in the original plans. But yeah, he has one scene. It's a fun scene of him in jail right before his character gets lethal injected. And this is directly the follow up. Huh?
Spoilers?
Spoilers within the first 15 minutes. So
even extra spoiler. Now we know when it happens.
So, directly a follow-up from Devil's Rejects. You remember how that came off?
No.
Well, no, it ends with you basically them insinuating that, they're all dead because the cops shoot them 30 times. They even say in the film they each got 20 bullets, but they didn't die, obviously, because they're in a sequel here. And so one by one, they kind of get their way out, and they're back on the lam again. There's a big showdown in Mexico towards the end of the film. More scenes that just reminded me of Devil's Rejects. Rob Zombie loves to do just shocking, kind of torturous movies. And if you're into that, sweet. But I think a lot of people have walked away from this very lukewarm. This just felt like a retread. And to me, retread is just not that fun to watch. And I'll give me a tough, fun horror film, but I've never been a huge fan of Rob Zombie's. His Halloween movies are not going to be in my top 10 list.
Never.
And so, I just think he's done better. And if you're a fan of his, I guess you're going to get more of what you want, but I'm not particularly a big fan of his. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I wasn't that big into this, and I haven't really seen any reviews that are that into this. So
I didn't even know the movie existed. So does that help?
No. I mean, it was hyped for a little while because I think there obviously is a fan base. This is the third actually in the trilogy. The first one is House of a Thousand Corpses, where the characters of Haig and Zombie first appeared, and I guess Bill Moseley as well.
That was fairly well received, if I remember.
No, actually, what it is, it's become a cult movie. If you look at original reviews, it was shat on. He actually just said that in an interview. He said, most things I do don't get respected till like a decade later. So no, it was very
he's
much...
still looking for Halloween to be respected, which will never happen.
No, he doesn't give a shit. That's one thing. I actually like Rob Zombie as a person. He doesn't give a shit if no one likes it. He wants to make his own movies.
Yeah, which he almost destroyed a whole franchise because of it.
He had to halt it for a little while.
Yeah, okay.
But at the end of the day, though, I'm not going to give it too harsh. I'm going to give I'm just going to say 2. A couple of interesting scenes. Sherry Zombie's not that bad in it, but it's very just you kind of go one awkward scene to another, and I don't know. I don't like these people. I don't think you're supposed to like them, obviously, but it's not even in a fun Breaking Bad or any kind of way. It's just. I don't know, it's all over the place, and there's not enough. There's not even enough tension. Like the whole big shootout in Mexico too. It's just they just seem to be very lucky or whatever in the right spot, and there's not even that much tension or interesting building.
Yeah, usually I have follow up questions. I have none on this because
good.
But no, you got other things coming up. You got more films that you say.
From your list?
Well, we're just gonna visit briefly at the end. Abominable, but we're not gonna go over right now. So. And then we're going to hit off to the other lists that we have.
Oh, we got one more.
Oh, yeah, one more.
I got one more I did check out. It's called Corporate Animals.
I saw there's a Demi Moore. Here. Is it Demi Moore?
Yeah, so Demi Moore, his company is kind of falling apart, and so she brings them out on a retreat. It's supposed to bring, power and the group back together. Let's do different activities here and there. So she hires Ed Helms, who's going to bring them into the mountains, into like the caves rather, and you got Jessica Williams, Karen Sony, the cab driver from Deadpool, Nassim Pedrad, who was in Aladdin and a former SNL cast member. I'm trying to think what else. Dan Beckett. You got a few familiar faces. So they all ended up getting trapped in these caves. A little earthquake happens, and so now it's do we start eating each other? What do we do? Tension starts to fly. You find out secret things of, maybe he's sleeping with her to get promoted. Oh, the company's actually falling apart. Different little things like that here. And this is just kind of one of those comedies where I just felt like the balance didn't totally work. A couple of the laughs are cool. A couple of the laughs are kind of strained. Even the ending here is I'm like, am I supposed to be smiling at this? And it just kind of really goes off the rails. There are some funny stuff here. The scene stealer, I think, is Callum something. He has a wound from the pretty beginning, and he starts to kind of trip out towards the end. So actually, I had some fun laughs with him. But I don't even remember what I ended up giving this. Probably 2.5. Oh, I gave just a 2. I didn't even throw in the half for this. So it was interesting. Ed Helms' character, he's one of those characters.
It doesn't seem like his character's going to last very long anyway.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to spoil it, but he doesn't.
You can
he's
see
the
that
first
in the
one they go, do we have to eat Ed over here or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
And but yeah, and he seems to be one of those actors where he can really walk a line of either charming and likable or just annoying. And unfortunately, in here, you don't care when he dies, and you don't really care what happens.
He was just there for a paycheck, probably.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. Like no one's really that likable except for the one kid with the wound, and so you're not really caring about what happens to these guys in the cave.
Oh, okay. So you gave that a what would you give it? 2? 2 stars. Actually, I was actually going to check that out and look at it. But.
Give it a check. I mean, yeah, let me see. Let me see.
How
if
you gonna
if
give
you-
it 2 stars and then tell this man to watch it?
Well, I'm interested. Well, because I'm interested in seeing does he agree? Does
You
he
just don't like
disagree?
him.
Huh?
You don't like him. You want to put him through bad times.
No, I was looking at that. I was actually perusing the videos that are out
I think
there.
that one was actually a cheap rental on Vudu. I think it was like $3.
Yeah, I was looking. I was like, still not cheap enough. I need to go a little lower. The one movie that we're gonna go back to because you went to watch it a few weeks ago, Abominable, DreamWorks film. I don't remember what you gave it. I believe you gave it a 3. I think or
Sure.
something like that. I'm not really sure. 3.5, 4, 5. I'm not really sure.
3.5 tops.
Okay, but I finally went to go watch this the other night, and it was colorful. It was okay. It's colorful. So I didn't really like it. It's one of those nights. It was the night we did the three in a row. Then this was the one I started with, so it should have just told me how the night was going to go. It was at the
Your
end.
night got progressively worse.
Yeah, as it went down, but actually, 2 is what I gave it. I gave it a 2. It's good for kids. I just couldn't get into the whole story. I mean, the story was okay, but it wasn't like it didn't capture me like, say, a good Pixar film does. And that's where sometimes I think DreamWorks falls apart on is their storytelling. They have the animation, the picturesque feel of it, but they just don't have the whole thing yet. They didn't do Hotel Transylvania was way better. Those 3, I believe, right? There's 3, there's a 4 coming or something like that. But there's those 3 are way better for storytelling than say The Abominable. So and that's fine line, but it could have been better. It just was just not geared toward me. But it seemed like the 4 other people in front of me enjoyed it pretty well.
Yeah, this one I do 100% recommend for kids. I think everyone liked it. There's enough heart and humor in this where I think it's watchable. But yeah, like I said, in the tops, maybe I gave it 3.5. So I do like it. Definitely a touch more than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one that could, if you want to save some money, wait for DVD. So you don't got to spend money on all the kids and popcorn. Throw it on that Blu-ray player.
Yeah. So the next thing is what you've been hitting at the whole time. We're doing our top 5, but it's going to be our
baby.
top 10 because I actually have 10, which is amazing because I don't ever usually do 10
Nice.
ever. But again, I'm just going to prefix mine. Very little go into the today's day type of horror films. So
I always wonder if I have bad nostalgia glasses because I did find it hard to have too many. Like if I'm looking at it right here, I think I have 2 that are past like the year 2000.
I have 1. I'm going to be honest. I only have 1 that made it probably about less than 3 years old. So that's the closest I've come. The rest are going to be, I'm going to be honest, 20s all the way through. But it's basically it gets bogged down.
20s?
Yes, actually,
The
there is.
1920s?
Yes, the
Here,
1920s.
fucking whatever.
Why? Thank you, good sir.
So I want to start off by asking Dutch and James. First of all, are you guys? Do you consider yourself, Dutch, a horror fan?
No. Maybe my younger years, but as I got older, I just thought it's a genre that is okay. It's just not my favorite genre ever.
Snarf.
No, not really. And there are some horror movies that are in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, but I don't go out of my way to watch horror movies.
I think I'm probably the biggest horror fan here. I think I'm a sucker for it. I thought about even subscribing to Shudder for Halloween time. Probably not because there's enough stuff I already subscribed to that has horror that I haven't seen yet. So I don't know. I'm weirdly a sucker. Like you tell me if you want to go see Downton Abbey or Countdown, I'm choosing Countdown.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm interested in seeing where the 10 goes. Where should we start, Dutch?
Are we just gonna do? Let's just do 10. We're gonna do.
No, but
5.
who starts the order?
I have you going first.
All right.
I don't want to start
Good. You're last.
noses because
Huh?
I want to see how you guys talk.
I understand. Well,
And if
you-
I have one that you guys hated, I'm gonna just knock it off the list.
whatever.
No, we don't judge.
No, we don't judge. I want your honest list. First of all, you
Oh,
should
you're gonna get it.
have it on your
Yeah.
phone. Or
Also, a quick aside: is Zombieland a horror movie?
no.
No.
Then I only have 8.
So top 10, top 8. You're weird.
Sorry.
Anywho.
You know what? We could count it. There's debates about a lot of films.
Look, I
Jaws
only
is a
said-
very big debatable film for horror.
Yeah, I
That's horror.
saw that.
It is horror.
No, it's not. if you
I
look
would
at
say it's more of a
some
thriller.
people say it's a thriller drama. Some people will say I said it was going to be a drama. I thought it was like a horror drama.
You could even call it an
thriller.
I
action
wouldn't
movie.
call that a drama.
Yeah, there is drama in this.
It's very
film.
dramatic.
No, I'm sorry.
Yes, there
Drama
is.
is like
You
Weatherman.
No, that's
You
a
mean
horror
The
film right there.
Weatherman?
Weatherman's
Good
a
movie.
horror film,
I
right?
only said it because you're here.
I love that movie.
I
What-
know.
what- what-
I
that
don't
was-
like that much.
That was
Two and a half.
wasn't it like a horror?
2006, Nick Cage.
That was a horror film, right?
No, it's more
No.
like
Well, it had Nicolas Cage in it.
Very
Generally, it's
dark.
going to be a horror film.
It's a dramedy, but heavy on the drama.
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen
yeah, dark comedy,
Not a very big
But a dark comedy.
dark. Well, it depends what you think is funny.
you know.
So my 10 through 6, my honorable mentions, if you will, before we get to the top 5. Number 10, Misery. Number 9, 28 Days Later. Number 8, The Sixth Sense. Number 7, Get Out. Number 6, Jacob's Ladder. And starting off my list now for number 5 is a film that I didn't necessarily think of at first. But then looking at other lists and whatnot, I saw that a lot of people did say it is a horror film. When you think about it, there are definitely horrific elements to it. My number 5 is Seven from David Fincher.
Oh, you know what? I think that is a horror movie.
Yeah, no, a lot of people had it in their list.
I
so
wish I had
there
thought
are-
of that. I'd have put that on my list,
It's
but
a
I didn't see
Now
that.
you can. There's your
suspenseful
number 9.
mystery
Yeah.
theater thing going
Yeah.
on.
But no, I mean it's
It's a great
it's
film.
about a serial killer technically, and you do see sometimes the killing, but a lot of times the aftermath of the kills, and a lot of great psychological stuff going on there. When you finally find out who the killer is, there's some great moments towards the end. I mean, even if you if you haven't seen the movie, I bet you have heard maybe the joke. Oh, what's in the box?
Yeah.
What's in the box?
You know what's crazy about that film?
Ah, no, what?
Is years later you find out that guy's also a rapist. The bad guy in the film. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, in real life, stop, just stop. Anywho, you're fired. This is everyone's Snarf's first and last appearance on the show.
That's fine.
Um,
It is a little spooky when you watch it now.
Yeah, ha. But no, that's having again another reason why I think Fincher's a fantastic director. It's shot well. It's shot very dark, obviously, and yeah, just great performances, and I think
Excellent.
really well made film.
Okay, so my honorable mentions. We're going to number 10. We have the 1982 The Thing. Number 1980s. We have number 9 with The Fog. Of course, 2 John Carpenter films, right, back to back. Number 8, Train to Busan. That's my 2016 nod. Number 7 is Nosferatu, 1922. It's a silent film. It's fantastic. And number 6, A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. So my number 5 is Poltergeist, the original 1982 version with Craig T. Nelson. It to me, it was just a good film. I mean, it ticked all the boxes. It creeped you out because that little, I can't remember that lady, the one, go into the light, that type of one, the small lady. I can't
I've
remember her
only
name.
seen the remake.
Oh, you've only seen the remake? Well, okay. But yeah, it just, to me, it was that's one that solidified clowns are bad. And trees outside a house is not very helpful. And television, where it's, just static, because that's what they used to do back in the day, is never a good thing as well. It's almost like white noise, but think of white noise if they're trying to pull you through a television to kill you.
Also, not that bad of a horror film, White Noise.
Yeah. Well, was that? Yeah, it was, I guess. But yeah. So Poltergeist to me, that was part of my early childhood, so it's very good. I enjoyed it. Immensely.
Snarf 9 through 5.
Sure. I Stole Your Not 10, 7. Great film. Probably would have been higher had I thought of it, but I wrote stuff for the other ones. I don't want to mess it up. Zombieland, sorry boys, love it. The Shining is number 8 for me. I only saw it once because I was too spooked by it. So I think it should be higher on the list. But in terms of enjoyment, not that high. In terms of horror, I'm not. Look, there's no good camera angle for me. You can see my feet. It's fine. The Green Room. You ever see that one?
Yeah, that's a
film.
good one.
Love that. As Above, So Below.
We saw it together, but whatever.
Did we?
I feel like we did.
You're a liar. You just make shit up. As Above, So Below, and Lawnmower Man. That's 5.
You had a couple good ones I didn't totally think of. I know As Above is one that's on my list to see in general. I've never
So
seen it.
listen, I was
but
doing
I had a
some
couple that
research.
liked it. It actually might have been you that's told me before.
Yeah, I was doing some research before I came on. It turns out that wasn't a very well loved movie. I loved it, and I didn't look it up or anything. So I went to look at the reviews, and most people didn't like it. So you might not like it, but I
It has
something
a couple
about it captured
defenders
me.
though. I think the people said
Yeah.
it might have been one of those films where they admire like certain elements of it and
Yeah.
where they were trying to go. Maybe
I would
just-
say one thing is that it was actually filmed in the Paris catacombs, so in some ways it has like a gritty realism that you just can't synthesize in any other way.
the
So.
main dude's on a sitcom I really like now called
Oh, yeah?
Superstore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So number 4, boss man.
And Lawnmower Man's actually a good honorable mention of mine. I like Lawnmower
Yeah,
Man.
you know what?
Creepy as shit.
I haven't
some of
seen
the
it since
elements.
I was like a child, but it rocked my world. I was like, you know what, never again. But so in terms of horror, yeah,
My number 4 is not the movie from 2 years ago, not Rob Zombie's Halloween, but the first of 3 movies called Halloween.
was it
Uh,
1978?
Yeah, I believe
When
78.
did you
Spot
say?
on. I'm pretty sure. The first ever one with Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance, and I just thought, this is a great just template for what you would see for many years to come, and many people still can't do it as well as the original Halloween. Tension, music, building, and then finally those big scares at the end here. Great final girl and Jamie Lee Curtis here. Daunting mask, which was William Shatner's face just painted white. Donald Pleasance, who sadly it's the only thing I actually really know him from is like 6 of these movies. But a great performance is Dr. Loomis, and probably the best arc in the series too.
Did they bring him back for that like 2000 whatever? Not the Rob Zombie one. Was he in that?
No, he's very dead by then.
Very dead.
Yeah, because he's dead by like H2O.
Oh really?
Yeah.
He was good in the first couple.
No, I mean, and he has the best arc because at one point, like, he's kind of trying to save him in the first one, and then finally he was like, no, it's just evil. Like, Michael
Right.
Myers is just evil, which is one of the reasons I don't like Rob Zombie, because Rob Zombie tries to go, well, he was, he had a slutty sister, and his mom didn't pay enough attention, and his dad was shitty. That's why he kills.
That's why you should love him. He's a good
Yeah,
boy.
come on,
He's a good
everyone's
boy.
everyone needs a really shitty generic backstory. And no, like in the original ones, like he's just evil. Like he was a kid who just one day was like, I'm gonna murder my sister. I'm gonna murder everyone, and just murdered a bunch of people on this Halloween night. And so yeah, that's my number 4 is the OG Halloween.
So we'll talk about a little bit more about mine. But number
Shadow.
number 4.
Shadow.
This goes either way. Evil Dead 2, better than Evil Dead 1 because technically Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 are the same movie in my mind.
It's like Terminator.
But it's just better. And it has a lot of great kooky scenes. Bruce Campbell I just love Bruce Campbell anyway. But yeah, in 1987 this film came out, Sam Raimi. And it just, to me, it just worked out well. It's just funny. It's the way it's shot.
I've only seen the remake.
God almighty. Get the hell out of this room.
New age guy.
But yeah, no. So it showed me that horror films don't need to really always be too serious. Even though it had a lot of good good frightener spots, it's just it kind of was kind of laid back at the same time, and it worked for me. So that kind of opened my eyes a little bit more as decades moved on. But Evil Dead 2, that's number 4 on my list.
Snarf.
I want to defend this. Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 are very similar films, except Terminator 2 is a better film.
I think Terminator 2, and also it's just bigger though. I mean, there's so much more.
But that's why my point is it's
set
similar to what
pieces
he
and-
was saying. I know it's not a carbon copy. I'm just saying that it's a
All right.
better version of the first film. They got a budget.
He's referring to when Dutch said that I gave him a look.
Yeah, I'm defending myself.
All right.
Well, no.
Number 4 or 3 or whatever.
All right, so this is my number 4 is a movie that I'm going to guess is not on your guys' list, but you probably liked, The Witch. Did you guys see this?
I never saw it, but I remember you telling me
Good
about it.
fucking movie,
Like
good movie.
it sticks in my mind.
So it's really good. It's a pyramid or a period piece. No pyramids whatsoever. Very good. A lot of strong emotions. It's basically, it's like, how in 300 everyone has the Scottish accent? It's like unrealistic because they're supposed to be Greek. It's like more they commit to the period. Everything's very like gross and dirty, and they have like real New England accents from the 1700s and stuff. A lot of religious stuff. Very haunting. Good film. And I like the fact that it's not in a series or an arc or anything. It's just a standalone piece of art that they don't have to rely on any like motifs or anything. I think that's interesting. It's tough. I read something somewhere that said all 100 of the top best movies of the past 18 years in terms of gross or whatever have either been a superhero movie, a remake, or based off a book or something. So the fact that this is like a standalone script, I respect that a lot. I thought it was very haunting and a good film.
Yeah, it's another movie that's on my kind of must-see list at some point in my life because his follow-up now, The Lighthouse, is out and getting pretty good reviews and saying this guy's got a really interesting, vision.
It's good.
So we go to number 3. Right?
Number three.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
My
you're
number
right.
3, as James Gutsemy.
Oh yeah, I'm on top of it.
All right. My number 3 is I know Snarf mentioned it already. It's Here's Johnny. The Shining is my number 3. I just think this thing is kind of a masterpiece here. I know it's different from the book, but I mean, I've never read the book because it looks long as well. So just the world he builds here, I think it's relatable. I think of just kind of going, insane when you're isolated, and just some great set pieces here. Great spooky stuff, as Snarf said. It spooks you. It messes with your mind. And yeah, I just thought this is a really well-made film. Jack Nicholson, maybe never better. Shelley Duvall. What more do you want? We're gonna get to follow up Dr. Sleep pretty soon.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that her best role since Popeye.
No, that's
No, okay. The only Robin Williams film I actually can't get behind.
You can't get behind that film?
I could get behind that one more than I can any others.
Oh.
Wait, what? It's the only one you can
It's
get
the
behind?
only one.
He's also pretending he's never heard of Kid Cudi. This is all just
No.
I
He
think
knows.
You're underrated.
bro,
You're overrated.
bro.
You are
Kid Cudi's like the
underestimating.
5th most famous person in music.
No, he's nobody in my book.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
Never
he's not
has.
famous.
Well, it doesn't mean I have never heard of him.
I don't
so
think he's
therefore,
even arguing the fact that he is more.
And
or
you're
less
also
famous.
claiming that Robin Williams never made. You ever saw Good Will Hunting?
Yeah, that's what. Okay, that's
Not-
now
not-
is where I'm getting angry.
No. You know my love for Robin Williams. I have no love for him. I don't. I've never liked him. I've never.
That's why he
have.
killed himself.
Yes, pretty much. I'm hoping for it.
he doesn't like-
But yeah, I personally just never have liked Robin Williams. So sorry. I apologize for everybody who wants to suck his cock. Jesus.
Oh, stop.
So, what was your third again? Shining. I agree. I like it. So, the third on my list is The Exorcist from 1973. This one gave me chills. I believe in somewhat of the supernatural to a point. But yeah, this one just because there was the kid. When I saw it, I was like 10, and the kid who was in it, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but it was just an unbelievable. It just blew my mind as a child, and then of course as soon as you're done watching it, your parents tell you to go to bed. So, but yeah, that's how it stuck with me. But yeah, The Exorcist is number 3 on my list.
Me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Silence of the Lambs. I don't know. I find this one kind of interesting to categorize as a horror movie. Because I guess it's about murder.
But it can be.
Yeah, that's the thing. I found it on a couple of lists. I wouldn't have thought about it organically. It's one of the greatest films of all time. I don't need my review.
I won't argue you at all. I almost would say the reason it's not in my top 10 because I almost do argue it being a horror. Like, I don't know. It's got horrific elements.
Yeah. I honestly, like,
But, I don't know.
that this list had not enough things on it that I had to think, like, it is one of my favorite films. I watch it all the time. I think it's more about, like, the stuff that happens after horrible stuff happens, right? Like, there's very little actual murder in the film.
Oh, yeah. Of course, there's the famous fact that Anthony Hopkins is only in it for literally, minutes, like 12 minutes,
Right. And that's part of what makes it so haunting, right? No, I mean, it's basically a perfect film. I mean, it's very few complaints.
My number 2 is Tyler Perry's Medea's Boo.
Finally, you're giving her
stole
some
my
love.
number 2.
Yeah, sorry. Let's all just talk about Medea's.
Was that number 2, or you didn't like the
Or is
first
it number Boo?
Are you sure?
Hey. Well, Boo 2 is one, so
Yeah.
way to spoil it,
Oh,
Dutch.
oh.
My number 2 is a movie. Dutch, you mentioned something about childhood before. This thing, one of the first horror movies I saw. I feel like it's so well made from the first kill to the last, and that's 1996's Scream, the first ever Scream. Nev Campbell as your final girl, Drew Barrymore as your what you think is going to be the star of the film from original marketing, from the first phone call. What's your favorite scary movie? From the horrific time when Snarf wouldn't cut back to me. There's just lots of good stuff in there. And you got David Arquette's Dewey, Courtney Cox, Jamie Kennedy, Rose McGowan, Matthew Lillard, just the entire cast here. And I just thought it's a horror film. It's funny. It really kind of revamped and reset horror films at the time. Wes Craven, the delicious screenplay here by Kevin Williamson. Just Ghostface. I mean, it's become an Halloween
Wes Craven
tradition.
Was a extremely prolific pornography director in the 70s before he broke out.
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, apparently, a lot of famous directors do that because they just need money, and they don't want to get a real job, so they direct porn. Yeah.
So what's your number 2, Dutch?
My number 2,
I'm gonna switch to Dutch real quick.
1968, Night of the Living Dead. This movie holds a lot of bad parenting skills by my father to me on this one because I was probably about 5 or 6, and he basically, they let me stay up late, at night. This movie comes on the television, and and then the first scene where the Barbara gets her neck broke, my dad decides, okay, I'm going to bed. Just turn off the lights and the TV when you're done. He turns it off. So here I am, like a 5 or 6 year old kid, sitting in the middle of the living room with the television on, horrified at this point that this lady just died, and my dad just walks away. As I watched the film, it got even worse because but George Romero, he was a genius when it came to the zombie portrayals. And I don't know, I just find this one to be still kind of spooky to this day. It has a lot of social characteristics to this day about class. But I got to tell you, though, I enjoyed it. I've watched it just recently again, and it still, gives me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies a little, but it's probably the best zombie film out there for its early days. So number 2, Night of the Living Dead.
I've never seen it, and it always looked boring to me.
You will enjoy it. You should watch it.
All right,
I bet you would like it, Jordan.
You should.
That being said,
check
I've
it
never
out.
seen it.
Yeah, but it's very good.
What's your dose, Snarf?
Dose, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay.
Yeah. Another one that actually fits into that, like, is it a horror movie?
Yeah, I mean, I would almost say, that's to me the number one genre to me is horror because, it's not a slasher by any means, but like,
Yeah, I guess when I think horror,
psychological
I think, like,
horror, almost if you want to do a subgenre.
Because it's okay, but
Well,
this
that's
is
what
where I'm
you
not
get
sure
out.
about the whole.
That was your Get Out, is your psychological horror.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that one also has straight up like.
I would say that
multiple murders.
that is a horror movie, right? It's got other elements, but one thing I don't know about is that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say why I love this movie.
Say it. It's out for
Okay.
years. Say it.
It's because the aliens were real, right? Like, I think that a lot of movies hint at the supernatural and at the end of the world and whatever it is. This movie had the balls to, like, last 15 seconds, she just gets ripped out of the car by an alien, and you're like, oh, he wasn't crazy, right? And it all comes back to it. It's all worth it. He's the sane one. Like, the conclusion is so buttoned up, and his performance makes so much more sense, too, because you're like, he's either just a huge asshole or he's got a big heart and he doesn't know how to show it. I mean, John Goodman, I think my favorite thing he's ever been in. And I think the whole thing is so good. I also like the idea of a cast being supported by that small of amount of people, like 3 people and how they interact over a 2-hour period and having those relationships develop.
Yeah, I mean, all 3. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and then I want to say John Gallagher Jr., maybe something like that.
Right.
Yeah, all 3 of them. I mean, Goodman, my God, great performance.
Yeah.
Literally, like, I would say Oscar snub. Like,
I
and
was
this is a
surprised about
fun.
that. That being said,
Because I
it's
think
not
this was
the
like
sort
a
of movie they
January,
go for.
February horror that just got,
Right.
it had no chance, sadly.
Yeah, it's not bait the way
Yeah.
it needs to be. Yeah, but I mean, it's a rewatchable film as well.
Yeah, like, it's one that I've seen, but I would watch, now if
Yeah,
I wanted, if I
for
could.
sure.
But yeah, you guys thought of a couple of good ones here. If we next year during Halloween did the top 10 of like the last 20 years horror, like this definitely
Yeah, a lot of
make
mine
it.
are from the last like 15 years.
Yeah, that's something that maybe I overlooked a little bit. Is some of the newer ones. I don't know if it was nostalgia glasses or what going. Well, is it as good as something from the 80s? Nothing can be, right?
I like that none of our
Nothing
top-
could be better than the 80s. I'm sorry.
I like that none of our top fives are. I don't think there's been a repeat.
There will be
there's
right.
about to be,
There's-
right?
Yeah, there's about to be. But,
Yeah, I think we're gonna maybe have one.
Oh,
and,
you guys have number one is the same.
Well, no, my number one
no,
is
my
his,
number one is something I've
is
said.
something else. Yeah,
Wait,
something that you
two
said.
left.
There's
There's
one more.
for me.
Okay, yeah.
There's
okay,
one
cool.
for all of us now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right.
Okay. My number one is something you have mentioned actually, but you mentioned it in an honorable mention, and it's my number one, and that is actually it's not the OG because it's actually a remake, but it's not the most recent remake with Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It's The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
It is a good movie.
Oh, it is. I think to me again, when you talk about almost a perfect movie, I do weirdly enough put that in that genre, man. I just think this
It's
thing
Kurt Russell, man. Just
from the performance of
Escape
Kurt
from New York.
Russell, Keith David. What?
well, he is
Another
he-
good Kurt Russell film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Another John
Okay.
Carpenter film too, as well. So,
Yeah.
which is
The performances here, the tension, the figuring out what's going on. It's a great formula. It can still work to this day. I didn't mind the remake with Winstead. A lot of people were kind of okay-ish.
I didn't
on it.
prefer
I think
it.
just because of the hype of this one of it just.
Yeah, it's like remaking The Godfather.
Yeah, I think they had just a tall glass to fill already. But I just like this thing from the practical effects from
1982.
early 80s.
82.
Yeah, 82. Still freaking hold up, man. And I just think this is a fantastic film that I think is literally like when I say like must watches, I kind of do put this in there.
yeah. That's
I've never seen it.
and I.
You've never seen The Thing?
I wrote it down. I
man.
need to see it.
Yeah, it is a must because it to me that genre was just I think John Carpenter is a genius. Okay, if you were to go through John Carpenter films, you can look through them and you say, okay,
Is he
I like
still
this,
alive?
this, and this, and this. Yeah, he's still alive. He's still making money on he helped in the last Halloween reboot.
Oh, right. He's got that producer credit.
Yeah, he's still talking about it. So him and his wife. And speaking, I'm just going to jump into my number one though, because it's a John Carpenter Halloween 1978. To me, this movie was the greatest horror film I have ever seen. It still is. It holds up to this day. You go back and watch it. Just the performance by Jamie Lee Curtis, by who's really there's not that many people in this cast, which is great. It's just Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers, and then of course your doctor. But I just find it just fascinating of how it just kept my attention and just there's not that much of a body count. If you really look at the original, I think there's like one or two that you really notice, but the violence is not really. It's just a psycho thriller, and I think that was to me the birth of later on slasher films. But it's just to me, it's just that those the 3 or 4 chords in that it pumps the adrenaline, it gets you going. Every time, and even in the remakes that they've made over and over and over again, even the most recent remake, I thought that music just makes you jump. It's almost like a little bit of the cha-cha-cha, sound with Friday the 13th, when Jason's about to appear. Kind of gives you the goose pimples down your neck.
Yeah.
But Halloween is probably my best and probably my most favorite film of the horror genre.
Interesting. We listed 29 films at this point, and no one said Psycho.
Yeah.
Because now, that being said, I didn't think it was that great, but like I consistently find that in the top 5 of all these lists that I was looking up. So it's interesting that in 30 movies, no one mentioned it.
I
'Cause
admire
Hitchcock
it.
is considered an eminary.
Yeah.
In the
Oh, of
genre.
course, yeah, especially in horror.
Actually, there was no Hitchcock movies as far as I can tell.
No, other than Psycho, I mean, I like The Birds, but The Birds is not
But
great.
there's like other ones
Yeah.
that I can't name.
I unfortunately have never done a huge deep dive into him.
You should. He's actually a great filmmaker, but
No, I admire the hell out of it, but I don't know. Maybe just because I felt it was kind of a cliched film to say that I don't know. I thought these more were ones that hit me personally. That
It's
I
also
wanna
like I
talk
hate
about.
to say it, but that's why I'm not going to shit on Dutch. But like Nosferatu is not scary.
it's not. It's
it was
just
the
a
30s.
great. It's a great film. Just because
I think it's good if you think about
You
it
know,
in historical context.
yeah,
But if I
it just-
showed it to you as a student film in 2019, you wouldn't like it.
No, I saw that film in probably about the mid '90s. Nosferatu. And I just personally just love the filmmaking.
fair enough.
And how it was coming across, because if you look at it, 1922, there wasn't a lot of that going on for a horror genre,
Right. Agreed.
and so to me, I like to bump it up, because to me it's a forebearer to things that were coming down the pike, to what film could be, and and I enjoy it. It's like Metropolis. It was good back in the day. It was, does Metropolis hold up to a point? No, not really.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't really. But it's a visionary feat at that time.
Well, what's your one, Snarf? Let's hear it.
Oh, you want my number one? I'm going to put the camera on Jordan for this. I just want to see your reaction. Terminator 3?
No, stop.
Just kidding. Okay, this is actually my second or third favorite movie ever as well, which is disproportionate. It's not that good. Cabin in the Woods, the remake, 2011. Love it. I think it's such a brilliant film, and for the same reason that I like 10 Cloverfield Lane, that the world actually ends at the end of the movie. Like, I think that they're sort of like doing a favor to all films, because most of the films, it's not what you think it is. It's never going to end. The hero, like, think of anything where, like, the hero at the end, he defuses the bomb with 1 second left or whatever. They had the bravery as, like, to be like, no, the world, they show the world crack in half and end at the end of the movie. And for me, aside from the fact that it's otherwise a good film, that is worth everything. Like, that's what makes it a brilliant film. Outside of that, I love how it's got this dark humor. Like, the people who are operating the buttons and stuff are sort of just in an office pool, and they're having such like a normal. It's like a Tuesday.
Great performances, Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins.
Yeah, and I like that. I think it's Chris Hemsworth's in it. He's hot. Just sexy people. I also think this is interesting about this movie. It toes the line between knowing that it's like doing parody of but not being a parody, and not being all fart sniffy. Like, it does all the stereotypes. He's like, I'm the nerd, this is the hot chick, this is the jock, and whatever. But it's not all like like Hollywood like fart sniffing. It's not a parody. It's not like Movie 42 or something like that. So it's got this weird like self-referential thing going on. So it's a little bit more lighthearted, but it's still got the murder and the horror and all that. For me, especially as not a horror fan, this is a good regular film that's got horror elements. So to me, it's my favorite ever.
Great performance too from Fred Krantz, who I'm a big fan
the kid,
of.
the stoner kid?
Yeah.
That's one. He's amazing.
I love him in that. Yeah, and actually, you know what? You mentioned Seven, about how you forgot it, should put it on your list. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, this definitely would have been in my top 10 if I don't know why it just kind of slipped my mind.
And you know what's funny? They got Chris Hemsworth before he was super famous, right? Like, so it was just right at that cusp before he got cast as Thor. So they got him as like one of the hottest guys in Hollywood, and they probably didn't pay him anything, I assume.
Even more so because if you know the backstory of it too, obviously not due to quality, but just due to like I think the studio like died. It was actually like done for like a year or two.
Oh yeah.
So like, they really like lucked out because I think he had at least been casted as Thor by the time it came out, or maybe even the first one came out.
They
but like
get some extra
they got even more publicity because he was slightly more of a name than he already would have been if it had came out 2 years prior. But I love it, man. And like you said, at the end they have the balls to do something kind of cool with the ending.
Yeah.
All the different creature effects, co-written by my main man, Joss Whedon. And you can definitely see that in the screenplay.
Did he direct that as well?
No, it's is it Drew Goddard who just did a movie we loved, and I wonder if you've seen it because I think you would dig it too. Bad Times at the El Royale.
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Check it out because I think it's the same director.
My first thing I'm gonna do is watch The Thing.
Yeah, no, highly recommended. Yeah.
Cool. Fuck Alfred Hitchcock, right?
Yeah, evidently.
That's the lesson.
There's someone watching this right now going,
John
"No,
Carpenter
Hitchcock,
yeah, just so mad."
Vertigo, nothing."
Well, no, you have Rear Window. That's suspenseful.
Also, too, I do want to just shout out in another kind of fun FU way. No Jasons, not a single Jason mentioned, which I've always thought those movies were not that great.
Yeah, I was actually going to say Nightmare on Elm Street.
Only one Freddy mentioned in an honorable
that was
mention.
in the honorable mention, number 6.
No Freddy's for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Halloween made it. Scream made it.
Well, Scream is an interesting pick.
I love Scream.
It's crazy how high that is up for you. I kind of think of it as like a moment in time in the 90s. You kind of
like I said, I'll admit it.
Just
it hit me at the right time as a fan of movies, of horror movies. I think a lot of people have it in their top 10s.
It would be like if you're like, you know what, my best is Scooby Doo, that 2003 or whatever one. Like that's how I look at that in terms of horrors. Like it's just a bunch of like hot popular people from that era, just like in a horror movie.
That's not a horror movie.
No, I'm saying it's the Scream is the Scooby Doo of horror movies. It's an analogy. You of course you understand what I'm saying.
Scooby Doo wasn't that good though.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
movie.
Yeah, that like weird semi-animated one with all those guys in it.
Yeah, but Scream's a well-made movie.
My point is that I didn't really like Scream.
Yeah, that's
To
fine.
me, I look at it as the Scooby Doo.
Oh,
of
you
horror
do,
movies.
though.
That's how
Okay.
I perceive it.
So we got some news and notes for you as we move on the show here.
Bernie
Anyone
Sanders.
seen the Bloodshot trailer with Vin Diesel?
No,
Vin Diesel making another movie.
Vin Diesel's making another movie. It's a
that
comic book
man's
movie
making bank.
from Vertigo Comics here. I actually like the comic, and so I was excited about the movie being made. Trailer didn't do a hell of a lot for me. It felt like Deadpool, but without any of the humor. And I don't know, man. There's just something about Vin Diesel. He's had a rough time of getting a franchise outside of the Fast and Furious going.
Maybe it's
that
because
Witch Hunter died, Babylon died.
Well, maybe because he's just not that good of an actor.
He's one note, and that's unfortunately what strikes me about
Was he in the
this character.
Chronicles of Riddick?
Yeah, another franchise that they really hard tried starting twice.
Pitch Black was
Pitch
and all
Black
that,
Chronicles Riddick, and then
Chronicles
even
of-
just Riddick. Like
Yeah.
twice they tried again.
Your
getting that
your,
going.
your beverage might be falling off of that table shortly.
You see my phone slipping?
No, your beverage.
No, we're good.
But
Okay.
the phone has to slip before the beverage slips.
That'll just take it all with it.
Kevin Smith, of course, recently came out. James Bob reboot we saw and enjoyed. Good news too if you're a Kevin Smith fan. Clerks 3 is back in development. If you heard him in interviews, he said how he wanted to make Mallrats 2. Couldn't do it due to the legal rights. Wanted to do Clerks 3. Jeff Anderson's Randall wasn't in, but now it looks like Jeff Anderson's Randall will be back. There is a script that has came out. They've even done live show readings. I guess it will be a totally new script that he's making for the Clerks 3 movie. And another weird note, My Chemical Romance's Gerard Way will help hum the score of Clerks 3.
Okay.
HBO Max has revived Adventure Time with 4-hour-long specials. So I really like it. Have anyone seen Adventure Time cartoon show?
I've seen it. Not a very big fan.
Oh, I love it. I think it's a great show. Now my one older niece, Ava, was a fan. I have a T-shirt of it. I'm excited for it. So they'll be back soon for 4 specials. The horror drama Evil has been renewed for season 2 over at CBS. Snarf, I know you're a big Cardi B fan.
I am. Invasion of Privacy, 2017, one of the best albums of the decade.
If you could be lying to me, I wouldn't know.
No, I'm not.
Was Kid Cudi on it?
No,
Really? Because he's one of the top 5 people of all time, according to you.
he is.
She's been added. Cardi B added to Fast and Furious 9 cast.
Oh, I saw that.
She joins
Jesus.
newcomers John Cena and Michael Rooker May 22nd, 2020. Cardi B.
Let me ask you this: do you think
ask
they're
me.
going to have any Paul Walker, like some throwbacks
Fantastic
or-
Beasts 3 will begin filming in February. I didn't know if they were going to continue with this trilogy, but they are.
What is this? Fantastic.
Fantastic
It's
Beasts.
Harry
the
Potter
Oh
Harry
yeah,
Potter spinoff.
They got another
With
2 or
Redmayne.
so down more to go.
I was just making sure it was still happening. I thought maybe.
You know what's
money-wise.
crazy is that's based off a book that's 15 pages.
Oh, yeah,
It's
tiny, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
It's
man,
almost like the
if you can milk 6 Pirates of the Caribbean films off of a freaking ride.
yeah. Or like
Did you know that's another in development? By the way, there's another
there's songs.
Pirates.
I
in
thought about
development.
writing that, but it's in such early development that there's not really anything to say other than they might do another Pirates movie.
without Michael Bay.
They made 3 movies out of the
Michael Bay.
Hobbit.
Michael Bay. He's
Does
just
it
a
make
producer
it-
anyway, isn't he?
I know, but he's not going to be a part of
Oh,
it like he
wow,
has
wow.
been.
No, well, no explosions though.
What were you saying, son?
Oh, just the fact they made 3 basically 3-hour-long movies, so like 9 hours a movie out of like 70 pages of The Hobbit.
Yeah, oh yeah, no,
another
similar
one.
thing, yeah. Where that could have easily been 1, maybe 2 films,
Or
and they're
it
just
could
like
have been one
trilogy.
it could have been like the part 1, part 2, like the
Yeah.
Harry Potter 7 kind of deal, maybe.
Yeah. The next Star Wars will be clocking in at 2 hours and 58 minutes, making it the longest Star
Wow.
Wars to
No
date.
thanks.
So
How
episode
long?
9. Almost 3
58
hours, my man. 2:58.
Okay, that's about right. Okay, I can handle that.
Is that one
We're
of
in.
the,
You're not in.
anthology things, or is that the Star Wars
Star Wars episode 9, basically.
proper?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is going to wrap the whole shebang. So
Here's some fun facts about Zombieland 2. We all, of course, saw the movie here anyway. You're for
Oh,
Pyro.
Can I say one thing before we go?
Yeah.
2 things actually. One, I found out recently that "jip" is a racial slur. I've been saying my whole life. I can't stop saying it.
yep.
Didn't know that. Because it's
What?
short for gypsy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone called me out the other day for saying something was a jip.
I've never heard that term.
Yeah,
It's a
you've
chip.
been gypped out of something. It's like you've been.
Oh, I've
cheated
said that.
or-
Yeah.
you gypped.
You
Yeah,
gypped me out of.
yeah,
Oh,
it's short for
so you're
gypsy.
basically calling them a gypsy.
Yeah, which
Makes
apparently
sense
is a
in
racial slur. They
retrospect.
don't identify as gypsies. Gypsy is something you say to them derogatory.
But is that a racial slur?
Yeah, it is because like if you don't identify as something and then I call you that, like that's racist, right? Like it doesn't matter. I'm not going to say any examples. I'm going to be on YouTube. It's going to fuck my presidential run up.
Don't kill our
Yeah, you're not
chances
going to
of
be
getting
monetized. Yeah.
demonetized.
And the other thing is, vote Bernie Sanders, 2020.
All right, cool. So, Homeland 2, we saw that Bill Murray did a return. Evidently, that was always something that they wanted to do, the writers.
Makes sense.
One of the original ideas would involve Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and Harold Ramis playing golf with Bill Murray, trying to convince him to do a
Isn't Harold
Ghostbusters
Ramis
remake.
dead?
If you let me finish! Yeah, I was going to get there.
Excuse me. I'm just saying that's why they didn't do
Well,
it.
it's just, yeah, but I mean, you think about it, like there's been a couple different scripts. This movie was made in 2006 or whatever.
Nine.
So, fine. Harold Ramis was
But
alive.
they even said it several times in the movie.
What, 9?
Remember when he kept saying like, that phrase is so 2009?
No, I
It
don't
was, like,
remember.
kinda
I
wonky
remember,
and-
but like not off the top of my head beforehand. No. So yeah, that was the original plan. Dan Aykroyd would end up becoming the first one to turn into a zombie and trying to attack the others. That was the original plan. Also, too,
I would have loved that.
They evidently wanted to cast Joe Pesci in a role.
What is he doing these days? Why
Which
don't
didn't go through.
he should have done that.
Shit.
You
you
just,
get
What?
Is there more information on it, or you just
Yeah.
got it off the ground? Okay, then I'll get it. And by that I mean James.
No, the nearest one.
By that you mean furthest, right?
Yeah. All right. He's in The Irishman, Joe Pesci, so he does have a movie coming
Did they
out.
de-ageify him as well?
Cannot confirm or deny. I don't know. The box office for this weekend that just finished, the 25th through the 27th. Number 5 making its debut was Countdown, coming in at about 9 million. Number 4 was Zombieland 2, double tap in its second week, making another 11 million, bringing that to 47 million. Number 3, The Addams Family in its third week, made 11 million, bringing that to 72 million. Number 2 was Maleficent 2, Mistress of Evil in its second week, bringing in 18 million, bringing that to 65 million. And number 1, Joker, went back to number 1, making an extra 18 million in its fourth
We live
week,
in a society.
bringing that to 277 million. And my last news bit is to tell you that Joker has now made over 788 million worldwide, passing Deadpool to become the highest
Did
grossing
you see
R-rated
that Ryan
film.
Reynolds thing on Twitter?
Highest grossing R-rated film of all time. Dutch was telling me about it. Tell us about it,
He
Snarf.
no, it's nothing. He just like put like a bitter like poster, like congratulations, like kind of Deadpool funny thing.
Yeah. It was fun. In your ear.
Yeah, I
That's
like how
fine.
Ryan Reynolds actually like does Deadpool shit on his own Twitter and stuff. Like he's really into like the character.
He's full on with the character, which makes sense because I think that is part of the reasons we have come to love this franchise so much. Is because
agree.
it's all integrated and
Right.
you can tell he cares, and that's great.
He likes the character.
Okay, you got any other news?
I was
or-
trying to look up something, but
But, you know, I'll
anyone
just-
want to say their goodbye?
I'll just
Yeah.
throw in a few things real quick.
Vote
here.
Bernie.
Oh yeah.
Stumptown, the rookie, and Mixdish just snagged a full season order. And also Jared Padalecki, who got arrested this weekend for drunken and disorderly and beating up everybody.
Natural guy.
Oh yeah, Supernatural. They're saying that his show will not be impacted by filming schedule, but he's been finally bailed out of jail just recently. But yeah, this weekend I guess he went on a ballistic tear by slapping a bartender, slapping the general manager. Then his friend who brought him out, he slapped him in a headlock and beat him down too. So yeah, he was having a good time over in Austin this weekend. But yeah, you know, he's back on set. I'm guessing nothing's going to slow it down for Jared Padalecki. I guess he's getting ready for that Walker Texas Ranger thing, so that's why he's trying to get into this.
Wrong one.
I thought it was Eccles. Was that?
Oh no, you are right.
Yeah, so Eccles is the smaller one. Padalecki is the big one. But yeah,
This is the one I like.
yeah. And Padalecki is, I guess, getting his little warm ups for his kung fu fights with Texas Walker Ranger later on this year.
Excuse me.
They're not going to pick that up.
Yeah, they'll pick
Really?
it up. They'll pick it up.
Now that he's in fights with and beating up on managers, I don't know, man.
It's gonna
If
be.
anything, that's gonna
Rumors
lend some
are is that he
credence.
owns the club, so he's probably able to do that. You know, I don't know what the rules are if you own
You're
a
not allowed
club.
to beat people up. It's against the
Does he
law. It
own
doesn't
their
matter.
faces?
Yeah, like,
Well, he owns them, so
you know how it works.
That's
where
close
your-
enough to
Your
me.
boss is allowed to beat the shit out of you, right, guys? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, your
that's how
job
it
too,
works.
right?
Yeah. We don't know how this works. And also, a Fresh Off the Boat spinoff has been picked up as well.
Fresh off that bow. Wait, what's the spinoff?
That sounds racist. Is
Fresh
it
Off the
racist?
Boat. I'm not really sure, but it has been picked up, and
I don't say.
it should be. I guess. I've never watched Fresh Off the Boat. You're a big fan of that show.
I was I'm a big fan, but yeah, I like the show. It's got our bud and the other
Is it
girl.
better than outsourced?
What is this thing come from like 08? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I think Constant
Yes.
Wu. I think Constant Wu will be very happy if they do a spinoff and she can finally get out of her contract with
It's got
the.
nothing to do with the show, though.
Yeah, she is. She's part of the Constant Wu.
No, but whether or not the spinoff, I mean, like Mixed-ish does have nothing to do with Blackish to a degree. So.
Well, we don't know where the spinoff's coming from or how it's going to go. So,
but it's a spin. It's a separate show.
I understand.
So whether or not that show gets
maybe
picked
she
up or
could be
not-
written off somehow, and they spin off for like part of the other family or something, you know. And
No, that's not how it works.
He's just
That's
writing
all-
fan fiction right now.
I'm just trying to get Constant Wu off a show she doesn't
I
want to be a
understand, well,
part
then,
of.
Then you got to cancel Fresh Off the Boat, whether or not the spinoff is a success or not.
Well,
You
we'll,
know,
we'll
like
find out.
School success has nothing to do with the Goldbergs. Like,
It does too. It has a lot of because of the Goldbergs.
So my last thing, guys, if you want to check out the theater, November 1st, you have Terminator. Dark Fate is coming out. I'm sure we'll have a review for you that next week. I will also be reviewing CM Punk's Girl on the Third Floor. That's out. I will be seeing that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I hope it is anyway. And also in theaters, I don't know if I'll get dragged to because of my niece. Arctic Dogs.
Well, don't forget Jojo Rabbit. If we haven't seen it, we'll probably be reviewing it.
Oh, is that-
I'm
is that a
interested in that.
wide
Is that
release?
good?
Yeah,
We're
that's-
both super looking forward to it. I've heard good reviews from the little
Yeah, I
that
like
have come
anything
through
that
me.
has to do with Hitler.
I mean, anything with Hitler is okay with James Snarf.
Yep.
So, anyway, on the that note, I guess we're gonna be done. We're done.
Yeah, guys. I
Goodbye.
mean, again, this was a show about shows. Hope you enjoyed the show. Click the like button, subscribe button. Add James Snarf on Facebook. Dutch McAllister, got anything? Goodbyes.
Goodbye.
Vote Bernie.
Best I can do.
Is that it for you,
That's it.
Snarf?
Vote Bernie.
Put yourself on camera one more time. Come on.
There's no
One
camera.
more time. Just come on.
There's no fucking
Do
camera.
it.
You have
All
two.
right,
You,
know
have
what?
two angles. You have two angles,
Come on.
But each of them
Come
are
on.
6 feet away from me.
and
All
then you
right.
just turn toward one angle.
Yeah, what up? Check out these damn feet.
Thank you for watching the show about shows. We love you more than you'll ever know.